Hello and welcome back to the Ace the Odds pod. Our third one. We're back in the house. We got Brad, my GBM co-host, and our I guess not you are always a special guest, but on Ace the Odds you are now a regular. Smoothman Sports, welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm exhausted. I'm glad tennis is done being in Australia, but I'm stoked to be back. So we have a lot of tennis to talk about.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I mean, I thought it was a pretty dud tournament up until the semis, where the tournament really woke up, and we got some classic five setters there, and we got Alcaraz beating Djokovic in the final to complete the career Grand Slam. So I mean, we're gonna do some previewing on the back end of this pod, but for the most part, this is going to be a recap pod. We're just gonna kind of run down the Australian Open and go over our thoughts. So I guess without further ado, we have to talk about Carlos Alcaraz completing the career Grand Slam, which is incredible at age 22, the youngest to ever do it. Um, so I guess Brad, let's start with you. Just your thoughts and what you make of this historic achievement.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, right? Like, obviously, it's obviously historic, but I do think it's interesting that we're seeing, and I think it just speaks to like the way that the training is so much like better now. But it seems like we're seeing players come up younger and have more success, right? Like, I mean, if we look at the top of the like how like Sinner's not much older than Alcaraz, right? What is Sinner, 23? Sinner's 24, Musetti's 23. So like, and you look at guys like Sinner, Musetti, and they've been around forever too. Like I think of Musetti as a veteran on tour, and he's only 23. So
Hmm.
like I feel like some of this speaks to guys just coming up sooner. Um, but I mean, look, I mean, obviously, like it's really really impressive to complete the calendar the not the calendar slam to complete the career grand slam by 22. I think the maturity, like we've seen, the maturity we've seen out of Alcaraz in the past couple slams. Like he's been a lot more like the U.S. Open. He just basically ran through everybody. But it was he really kind of cut the errors out. Like we were joking like middle of this year how he was just kind of dumping away sets to like random, compared to him scrubs. Um, but yeah, I thought it was a very mature. And I thought to come back after had that match starting so poorly for him in the final against Djokovic. I thought the way he kind of got things under control and made adjustments was really. I don't, man, you'll probably want to go more into that because I'll let you handle that one.
Hmm.
But I think that was really impressive. Like just it seems like he's really matured a lot in the past year, and I think that's great. And I don't think he pretty much proved the Juan Carlos thing was not really like that, big of a deal. And I think
Hmm.
which makes a lot of sense, right? Because Samu was also from that same academy, so I don't know how different the voice really is. I'll stop there unless somebody else take it away because I'm sure the two of you have probably some more interesting takes.
For me, so first of all, I think not enough is being made of the fact that Alcaraz is 3-0 against Djokovic in Slam finals. Because I think on this trajectory that he's on, I think he's on a path to at least challenge the record. And you know, if Alcaraz loses those three finals to Djokovic, Djokovic is at 27 and Alcaraz is at 4 right now. And that's that's a way bigger gap. So like I have a feeling in the back end of Alcaraz's career, we're going to be talking about these slam finals saying that like these three finals that he's beaten him in are going to be worth more. They're like two slam swings in the quest to be the greatest of all time. And I feel like people are not talking about that enough. I think people are all always just career Grand Slam, he has seven, blah blah blah. But like these are really if Alcaraz is really following path in terms of like trying to be the greatest of all time, I mean he's following a really good trajectory, right? These slams that he's beating Djokovic in, these slam finals are gonna be important, you know? They're two slam swings in that argument.
There's a long way to go, but
Long way
yeah.
to go. Long way to go. I'm not saying that. Like I'm saying he's super far away still, but like I don't think people are talking about that enough, you know? I think that that's important. Also, um for me. Alcaraz is like I don't think this is going to be a very popular take, but I think he's right now he's better than Federer and Nadal ever were. Just in not necessarily maybe in terms of like Nadal on clay, no. I don't think Alcaraz has reached that level on clay per se, but overall as a complete tennis player, I think he doesn't have any holes in his game the way Federer and Nadal did. And also, I think his mental capacity, the way he competes and like that like kind of I mean Federer I feel like was underrated in terms of his fight, but I also felt like he could kind of give in at some points. Um and I think Nadal may get him in competitiveness and mental toughness per se, but I think in terms of talent, Alcaraz supersedes that. So like the question I want someone in the media to ask Djokovic is not like who was your greatest rival, but I want them to ask him like is Alcaraz a better player than those guys ever were? Like, and I feel like no one has asked him that question. And I think Djokovic might say yes in that instance. Like, I, I can't, I don't think there's a tougher matchup that Djokovic has had in his career than Alcaraz. Even though he's not in his prime anymore, but I think in terms of like just completeness and what he brings to the table, um, I think it's a question worth asking. What do you think, Smooth?
Geez, a lot of heavy claims right there. Gosh, I actually love all of those takes. Let's start from the back and go forward. Let's start with back and go from yeah and go back. On whether he's better or Nadal or Federer, I think that's really tough. I think it's really tough if we're measuring it by success against Djokovic. Um, we'll see. We'll see.
Hmm.
He definitely has. I don't know. I'm not sure. I have to think more about that one. On the more slams, if he'll have more career slams, I actually do think that's a really interesting question that isn't being talked about enough. You mentioned it, but at this age, Djokovic only had one, Federer only had one, Nadal only had four, and those three would spend the next decade and a half fighting with each other. Um, Carlos already has seven, and he has the career slam. He's the youngest to ever do it, and even if he would have lost, he would have had another opportunity next year to do it. Um, so he's there. I honestly, the other thing that's interesting is unlike Nadal and Federer and Djokovic, I'm a little worried that Carlos is separating even more so. I wrote about it a little bit, but and we're going to talk about it a little bit more. But I'm starting to be concerned that Sinner's deficiencies in long-term matches or matches that aren't on his terms are more structural than temporary. And Carlos just keeps getting better. I mean, this the whole last year it was defined by Carlos becoming a more consistent, tolerant ball striker and much more mature in his construction. The way he adjusted his second serve positioning against Djokovic in the final was I mean the key. He's I think at some point in the second set, I think after the first Djokovic hold, he just decided that he needed to take a step back and turn these points into much more physical affairs. Um, which is something he kind of did early in his career, but then become much more dictating and aggressive in this past year to try to to try to compete with Sinner and to try to keep matches on his terms. But seeing him go back to that is a player who's able to win almost every kind of match. And he has the talent to play so many different ways that Federer and Nadal and even Djokovic didn't really have. So, I mean, he's only 22. This sport is super physical, and an injury could easily set him back materially because he does rely so much on his athleticism, his otherworldly. But um, definitely important to recognize the flash of talent that we're able to watch right now. It's so worth staying up until whatever time we stayed up to watch this dude figure it out against the GOAT. So
Insane.
I
Yeah.
love your takes though, Manny. I mean, better than Federer and Nadal right now is really hard. I think that's hard. I think it's maybe a little colored by the fact that Alcaraz is so much better than everyone else right now. But
Yeah, it's just his adaptability and his completeness is
yeah.
probably the best way to describe it. Like if I was like personally, if I was playing Alcaraz and I was at a, UTR 15 or, 15 and a half, 16 level, right? Like I wouldn't know where to go where I could really attack him, right? Whereas
Hmm.
with Federer and Nadal, there are patterns of play which I feel could be exposed or that could expose a weakness, right?
Hmm.
And like I think he has that Djokovician kind of, like he has some Djokovic in him in that he's that complete, but he also has the Federer shot making and the Nadal athleticism. So, use the blender analogy. You put all three in a blender, and like now that he's kind of putting all the tactics together and the discipline together, it makes it like for an almost impossible proposition for someone to beat him. That's
Yeah.
how I feel. And like I honestly feel from this tournament, he's separated himself from Sinner because with Sinner, he's amazing, but I also saw some deficiencies that could continue if he doesn't quickly adjust.
Yeah. Say more about those, Manny. What did you see? What are you
Well, I
starting to
guess
see?
before, 'cause
Because I
I think
think
we
it's a
could
good
probably go into
discussion.
Sinner next, but I
Yeah.
kind of want to push back on a few
Oh, yeah,
things
sorry,
that
man.
Manny said. So the first is the Alcaraz Novak Slam Finals, and the Alcaraz winning 3 Slam Finals from Novak. I mean, I think the 2023 Wimbledon final, I think it was 23, right? The Wimbledon final went 5 sets. I think that was an incredible win for Carlos. I think the other two were a depleted Djokovic. Like I think like I would argue that he should have won the last two finals. Um, so I'm not like as I don't know if I'm gonna look back and go like, oh wow, those three like I think it's like the Wimbledon final in 23, I think that was a big deal. I think the last two were more
But to
Alcaraz just
clarify,
winning matches he
I'm
should
not
win.
talking in terms of head to head. I'm talking about in terms of like all-time greatness and Grand Slam race. When we talk about Alcaraz, 10 to 15 years from now, that's what I'm saying. Like
I
I
guess I feel like to me it's more the other way that if he didn't win them, you'd be going like, okay, those were like really missed opportunities, and like those matches he should have won and didn't. Whereas like I feel like the last two when were like they were really in his court to win.
okay,
Um,
fair take.
Also it's interesting, Manny, because on the Alcaraz Djokovic head to head, that head to head is 5-5 now. And all their play was since 22, so it's all when like Alcaraz has been a top player. So I'm not like
Wait, but to clarify, I never said that he's better than Djokovic ever was. I'm saying he's better than Federer and Nadal ever was.
I just
There's a
don't know that
difference
like
there.
I don't know that I guess I guess what I would push back is I don't know that I would say Djokovic is necessarily the right person to ask in a way. Because Djokovic has found success against Carlos too. So I
That kind of
guess
makes him the perfect person to ask.
Yeah.
interesting take, Smooth. Yeah, that's an interesting take. Um, I guess the third question I'd ask is I would ask if Alcaraz has really separated himself that much. I think and this will get into the Yannick Sinner take. I do have some questions for Yannick Sinner, but I I think it's easy to get like a little bit caught up in the moment here. With and I think we can talk more about what I mean by that in a few minutes when we get into Sinner, but I don't think it's that crazy bad. And then like we're also evaluating Alcaraz after he's played at like a stellar level for the past 6 months. Or not even past 6 months. Let's say ever since the U.S. Open, so really like 3 to 4 months. So I still think there's an element of like let's see how long he keeps this up, right? Like it could fade back, right? Like there are ebbs and flows, and this is we're seeing him like we're kind of saying we're lauding him with all this praise after the past 3 to 4 months. Also, like we're lauding him with all this praise, but he really did escape versus Zverev. Zverev really should have won that match. So it's not like there. It's really like there were. It's. I wouldn't say it wasn't that there were no holes. Like Zverev has had a fair amount of success. Djokovic has had some success. So I don't think it's. I wouldn't like. I'm not saying Carlos isn't good at tennis, right? But I'm saying like the idea that there's no holes and he's unbeatable. I would push back on that.
Fair takes, fair takes. I also, I mean, we'll get into Yannick Sinner some more, but I think if you put him in that match against Zverev, he doesn't find a way out of that.
I would tend to agree. Yeah.
So, so if Alcaraz's career ended today, where would he be in the all-time ranks?
I can go first. I would say between 5 and 10. I would still put Borg, Sampras, and the big three conclusively ahead. After that,
And
and it
Labor,
gets really tough too
well,
because like,
Labor too, right?
well, and this is where it gets tough is because like once you get back to that era, it gets really hard to evaluate guys because like Labor, like the era that Labor played in was not just in terms of technology, skill level, etc., but the whole like design of the tour was completely different. Like I'm pretty sure like the first part of Labor's career, a lot of top pros didn't play Australia. And I think there were like, like I think there were like rules against like some of the major tournaments having like amateurs in them or having professionals in them, et cetera, et cetera. Like professional tennis was more barnstorming as opposed to what it is now. So like it's almost like if you go back more than 50 years, it's almost uncomparable. Actually, I wouldn't say it's almost uncomparable. I would say it is uncomparable. It just flat out is. Um, yeah, so that would be my answer. I would put five guys ahead of him, and then I think Alcaraz is has a good argument for number six, but I'll probably be the lowest of the three of you on. I'm guessing. I'm guessing that the other two of you are gonna put in top five.
I mean, I can go next. I don't think so. If we're doing best or greatest, I think those are different questions.
Yep.
If we're doing best in terms of deepest bag and most skilled, I mean, like I don't even know where to put him. It's somewhere very, very high. If we're doing greatest, I don't know. I think it's really hard to put him that high just yet. Seven is an incredible number by 22, but I mean, I tend to agree. You got the big three, Sampras and Borg. Honestly, I think and this is a really hot take, but like I might put Agassi ahead of him. Winning a career slam in that era when no one was winning career slams and kind of being, I don't know. I mean, I think his all court competitiveness is extremely underrated, but I might just be an American diehard. Um, I don't know, especially with the big three kind of defining what greatness is. Longevity is such a big part of it. So this is an incredible start to Carlos Alcaraz's career, but greatness in tennis requires adapting your style and like growing with the sport. And we saw Federer and Nadal and Djokovic, especially Djokovic, do it. Djokovic turning from like a physical grinder into like an elite first strike tennis player does not get discussed enough. But I'm going to need to see more of that from Carlos before I'm willing to put him above some of these dudes who are well into the double digits in slams.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you think, Manny?
you guys make great points with like best and greatest are two separate things. So like in terms of skill level, I put him in that, top five category for sure. But in terms of, resume and all this, like, the GOAT status, right? Like he's not close. He has seven slams, Djokovic has 24, weeks at number one. All these resume things are way in their favor. So I tend to agree. Like I was thinking of putting him in that Agassi realm. So like as Brad said, 5 to 10. Like to be doing this at 22 is ridiculous. So like he just has so much time to climb up the ranks. But the one thing that like the big three have done is like they've killed multiple generations of tennis players.
Mm-hmm.
They killed Federer killed the Hewitt, the Hewitt Roddick generation, and then he translated they all killed the Songa Berdych generation, then they killed the Del Potro Nishikori generation. Like So they just kept, and they also killed actually the Tsitsipas Zverev generation, to be honest, too. So like they've killed like four different up and coming generations of tennis players, right? So Alcaraz has probably killed one, right, with the Zverev and Tsitsipas generation, but he needs to kill three more to get into that conversation. So, um,
Let me ask you a question. If Alcaraz were to, because like I don't like Alcaraz isn't going to retire and stop playing tennis, right? So like if Alcaraz were to not win, if Alcaraz's career were to end today, it would
yeah,
probably be because of some sort of tragic injury.
right.
Would that like increase the like would that increase his prestige if if it ended like due to injury as opposed to or injury or like or some sort of like tragic off the court incident as opposed to like just hang it up or just getting lazy and not wanting to play anymore. Like I feel like those are different things to evaluate someone's legacy and greatness.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably put him like seven or eight all time, regardless of what happened, right? You can't like weigh what ifs and when you have this argument or when you have this debate, right? So you have to
Yeah.
talk about credentials like at that moment.
I don't want to speculate on terrible things happening to Carlos. Um, just
Yeah,
a soft
that's
joke,
true.
It
but
was a pretty uncomfortable thing to talk about. Like,
no, no, no. I mean, you're right. You're right that like that would alter the discourse, for sure. Like if something happened to Carlos, there it would be one of the bigger what ifs in not, I mean, not just tennis, but like in every sport. It'd be like up there with like Len bias and um, just like a
I
horrible
mean, it'd be well
tragic
above
thing.
Len bias, right? Like, this
Oh,
is a
well
guy
above
who
Len
literally
bias.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is a guy. I mean, this is the equivalent of somebody being like a 2 or 3 time MVP and something like that happening.
It would be, yeah, it would be horrible. So, but that's just a testament to how spectacular what he's doing right now is. So, I don't know.
Last Carlos question. What would your price like the price you would need to hit Carlos to win all four slams this year?
Do we get to count? We're not reverse capping Australia, right? We're just doing for the neck
For the next three. Yeah,
for
for him to
on.
win
Okay.
the next three, what price would you need for you to like hit submit on that bet?
Oh boy. Honestly, I mean, like I'm just doing some quick math off my head. If we do like plus 110 three times, that's like plus 1,000, I believe. I believe that's how that works out.
Yeah,
So,
I also feel like the pressure element, like say he wins the French and Wimbledon, right? That pressure element of the US Open to actually achieve that, I feel like you can't make that plus 110. Like I feel like that element of pressure kind of pushes that to like plus 170, plus 180.
I kind of
Yeah, but
feel
I'll
like
go on
he
the other
just
way and I'll
starts
say that I don't
smiling.
think you can make. I think plus 110 on Alcaraz to win the French feels like a gift. It feels like he should be minus money at this point to win the French.
I was
Wow.
just averaging them out. I was averaging them out, but
Okay.
maybe. I mean, plus 180. If you gave me Carlos to win the tournament, the U.S. Open at plus 180, I might take out a mortgage and, and
Well, I just
play
hit
that.
Carlos at plus 200 to win the US Open. That's still out. I think that's still out there on Bovada.
That's a great find. That's a great. I mean, it's a
So,
long way from now, but I don't know. I mean, what number would you? What do you think is a fair number on the calendar slam from here? I don't know. Plus 1,000 over under
I probably need 12 to 1 to go there.
12.
See, I'm thinking like I personally think that for the two natural surface slams, I I think you gotta put Carlos at like I mean, at close to 50%, if not better. And then the US Open is probably going to be a little bit worse because if he does get the three slams, man, there probably is some added pressure if he gets to the semis or finals. Granted, that Carlos has been so mentally tough throughout his career, so how much are you really going to ding him for that? But also, there's the chance of injury. So I don't know. I think you're really close there, Smooth. I'm thinking like maybe 8 to 1, 9 to 1, as opposed to 10 to
Wow.
1, but that's pretty close, right? That's 10% versus 11% or 12%. I think you're in the right ballpark.
Let's ask a different question. Which of these three is he? Which of the next three do you think he's most likely to be challenged at? I kind of don't know if the answer is the U.S. Open. I think that would have been the obvious answer in last year and years past, but he just won both hard court slams consecutively. So, what do you think he's most likely to get upset next,
I think
if
Wimbledon.
at all?
I think the variance is the highest there, to be honest.
Mm,
Right?
it's a good take.
So I would go there. I think he's definitely the best clay quarter, but I also think Sinner is going to be an absolute mission. Like he's got to be the motivation for Sinner to get back on track is going to be kind of something that people won't really be able to comprehend. I think it's going to be incredible, and I think he's going to be on just an absolute tear on the clay this year.
Mm,
Everyone thought of Sinner. I guess let's transition to Sinner, because everyone thought of Sinner as being like the best hardcore player in the world, and like in a blink of an eye, Sinner Alcaraz has won the U.S. Open and the Australian Open. So there really any debate who's the best hardcore player right now? I don't think so.
Oh, I think there is. This is my hot take.
Okay, all right.
I don't think he's I mean, I don't think he's that far off. Like so I mean, yeah, Alcaraz got him the US Open final. Like that did happen, right? We can't take that away, but what other like what other terrible things have happened to Sinner since? Like he's crushed everyone. He won the World Tour finals. Um yeah, he's crushed everybody. He won the World Tour finals. Like he had I mean, that loss against Djokovic was a super fluky loss.
hmm
The serve points won, return points won in that was 108 to 92. If you add up serve points won and return points won, it was 108 to 92 for in favor of Sinner in that match against Djokovic. That's the exact same. The 108 to 92 exactly matches the final that Alcaraz won against Djokovic. So
Interesting.
he had a fluke match where he couldn't convert a break point, and like Djokovic came up with some amazing serves and some really just some amazing serve plus one on a lot of those break points too. And then Sinner had some pretty bad misses on break point, some or bad for him, not bad for normal players, but bad for him. But like that was a really fluky loss, guys. Like he was 2 for 18 on break point. That's just not going to happen very often. And if he converts his normal 6 or 7 of those, like it's probably the same 5 or 6 game win that Alcaraz had against Djokovic in the final. And we're talking about a completely different narrative. So I think like sometimes we get a little bit too caught up in who wins the match, and we kind of reach for narratives a little too fast. I think at this point it's pretty close. Carlos has made improvements. Before I was saying that Sinner was the better hard quarter. I think now it's pretty darn close. Now
You
I'll let
know,
you guys carry to me because I think I'm going to be on the other side of that take. I do have
I
another
agree.
Sinner take coming up later, but we'll I'll wait for that one.
I agree on the Djokovic match was a freak match, like for sure. I'll say Sinner should probably still be winning in 5 sets there. He didn't look too great physically in the fifth set, to be candid, but he's like 6-11 or something there. But when I think about Carlos and Sinner on the hard court, I just think about the US Open. Um, I don't think that was particularly competitive head to head. And I feel like that was I'm not sure like how does Sinner fix that? He talked about adding more variety into his game, but I don't think that's really the issue. I think the issue is how he responds to variety.
Hmm.
I'll put another take on the table here. So, and this is it's a very unique situation. I guess we had it with but I don't think we actually had this with Federer and Nadal. We're at a point now where we have two guys that have separated themselves so far. It's almost like we can only evaluate them against one another
Yeah,
in the sense
exactly.
that like Sinner, like I actually like I think it can like two statements can be true. Sinner can be a better player than Alcaraz, and Alcaraz can win more than half the time against Sinner because of the stylistic matchup being much more in favor of Alcaraz. The problem with that is that in an era where now two guys have separated themselves so far, like it's almost like we can't even evaluate like Sinner's success against like 3 through 50 because like they both just beat the crap out of those guys, and so it almost doesn't matter. So it's a very weird situation where like Sinner could be the better hard quarter, but it just doesn't. It's almost not relevant because the only thing that's relevant is who wins between those two.
Yeah, that's a good take. That
It was
really.
a really good take. It makes it really hard to do analysis on it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I would like. What do you think, man?
but one thing with Sinner though that I have to kind of criticize is his inability to win long matches. Like now it's to the point where I think he's like 1 in 10 in matches that go over 4 hours.
I thought
Oh
it was
boy.
0-8.
Oh,
I
and
think
eight.
it's 0-8 now. I think it's
It's a
worse
pretty
actually.
like bad number. So, and you compare that to Alcaraz's 5 set record, which is absurd. It's like 14-1, like it's not a necessarily a question in terms of like who's better, like in terms of just pure tennis, but it's that extra bit of belief, that extra bit of intangible that I feel Alcaraz has when the going gets tough. And that's Alcaraz's biggest edge against Sinner, in my opinion. And I think when you can only measure them against each other, those kind of things are very, very important. Um, and like I think that's something Sinner's really gonna have to figure out, to be honest. Like I just talked about it in the Zverev match. Like I feel like if you put Sinner in that situation against Zverev, where he's cramping and he's down a break in the fifth set and he's trying to claw his way back. For me it's like hard to envision from an eye test that Sinner comes out of there unscathed. Um, Whereas with Alcaraz, I feel like you always have that belief that he will find a way. Um, and
But does Sinner even end up there against Zverev unless it's a completely fluky, crazy match like the Djokovic where he just can't convert a break point? Because like even in that fifth set, he had chance after chance to get the break back against Djokovic, and he just couldn't. He couldn't win a big point.
well, knowing Sinner's history, he probably cramps earlier, like
Hmm.
in the heat. He's not the best at dealing with heat. We saw that against Spizzirri.
I think the thing with Sinner is that, and you both kind of touched on it, against everyone not in Carlos, his ball striking is just so good. I mean, he literally hits people off the court. Is how he wins tennis matches. Carlos is the only one who's able to really hang with that right now in any meaningful capacity. And when Sinner isn't able to dictate and isn't able to finish points, he there's not much else there. And I know that like the match against Djokovic was really fluky. Like I think how many break points did he convert? Like two of
Two for
18? Something
18.
Yeah, Sinner
yeah,
won 12 more
insane.
points than
2 for 18.
Yeah.
Sinner was 2 for 18. Djokovic was 3 for 8.
Three for eight. Yeah, and that's brutal. That's a brutal way to win to lose a match. But in those points, we saw Djokovic, execute some big plus ones and just like solid ball striking to the center of the court where Sinner could not get on the front foot. And like match point was a perfect example. He just pulled that backhand wide, just pulled the trigger too early on a ball that was too pacey. And he's not dictating. He doesn't have a plan B just yet against super, super elite players. And I'm not really sure where he's going to find that.
well, I'm not going to argue that Sinner isn't better than Djokovic. I think Sinner is way better, and like watching that match, Sinner was the better player against Djokovic. He won 12 more points in that match. So I'm not going to
100%.
debate you there, right? But like Djokovic has those intangibles that Sinner doesn't. And like and those intangible factors are what won him the match, right? Just in terms of the big point play, the ability to rise to the occasion, that extra level of self-belief. And when the margins are that small with these guys, that really matters.
Well,
And
I guess that's the question I'm going to ask is do we think this is becoming a trend with Sinner that I'm not going to say he's mentally soft because I think like compared to I don't think it's a problem compared to the rest of the tour. But when you compare him with like his peers, which is at this point is Alcaraz and maybe Djokovic, does Alcaraz have an advantage there? And is that again, it's a weird thing to say because like I don't like where it's like we're at a place with these two where like anything that one doesn't do better than the other is a weakness because they're the only peer for each other. But like, because you bring up the long matches, but like I don't know, like was the 5.5 hours the French Open final, was that really like a physical issue for Sinner, or was it more like a mental issue that that Alcaraz just played really, really well in the tiebreak and was able to focus and come up with even better tennis at the biggest moments. And I feel like this isn't the first time. Well, look, I mean, if you go back to what was it, 22 or 23, the long U.S. Open match between him and Alcaraz, where Sinner had the match points. Obviously, I just brought up the French. There's now this Djokovic kind of fluke loss. Like, it seems like Sinner runs into a decent number of these fluke losses for a player of his caliber, and Alcaraz seems to run into a lot of fluky-ish wins. And I'm wondering if, like, is it really fluky at this point, or is it really an intangible thing that Alcaraz, and does Sinner have? I guess the question is going back to what Sinner's problem is. Is Sinner's problem? Is it a physical problem? Is it a shot making problem, or is it a fitness issue, or is there something between the ears that Sinner needs to figure out how to play better in the bigger moments?
I would go with the latter, actually. Like, I don't think he's really faltering physically per se, right? Like French Open, he was fresh in the fifth set. He seemed pretty fresh against Djokovic at the end, right? So I think a lot of people would actually side towards the physicality angle, but like I actually think it's more the mental angle right now. What about you, Smooth?
Man, I don't know. I don't know if it's mental. I'm not sure. Where does tactics fall in this? I think it's a tactical issue with
Okay.
him. Um,
Good take.
I kind of talked about it a little bit, but like his people talk about him like a robot, and it's kind of true because the way he wins all of these matches, except against Alcaraz and occasionally Djokovic, is so mechanical, and there's nothing people can do about it. It's when he runs into people who can do something about it, or when he doesn't have his best stuff that um, he runs into issues. And if he's going to seriously contend for like true historic greatness, he's going to need to evolve a little bit more. And he's done a good job. He's done a good job to date. But I kind of, tell me if this is wrong, but I kind of think his game is kind of just built on itself and built on itself and built on itself. I'm not sure what new things he's added in a big mechanical way.
I would disagree there. I think he's gotten a lot smarter tactically in like the nuances. I think
Mhm.
he's still the same style of player that he was go even back 3 years ago.
Yeah,
But I think he does play smarter. He does play. I think it's just more nuanced. It's just like, you
we
know.
agree.
So like it's. But again, I go back to, and I guess it's, I was kind of repeating the same take over and over again, but it kind of like reverberates back to this same thing where it's like the standard is like insanely high right now, right? The standard
Exactly.
that these guys put himself at. So like it's like, yeah, I get like because I think the Djokovic was a complete fluke. So throw that out, and then although it does like I said, there might be a little bit of a mental like thing on the big points, but but like it all comes down to how does he beat Carlos, and like Carlos has a big matchup edge as long as he has the explosiveness to get to compete with Sinner and the variety to make Sinner do things. Like Sinner's gotten a lot better at coming forward. He's gotten a lot better at the net. Like if you compare him versus 3 years ago, like all those things are much improved.
Yep.
But like he's not number one in the world at those things. And like that is the standard it takes to beat Carlos. So it's like it's kind of a fascinating thing because like I do think Sinner's gotten a lot better. I just don't think his base style has changed much.
Yep. I mean, we
But
we
like,
100% agree.
yeah.
Good.
I mean, you give me, but you give me even money or plus minus 110 on Alcaraz at any of the other three majors, and I'm taking Alcaraz at that at that price. I would probably go minus 130. I would go with Alcaraz just because of that mental gap.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
uh, maybe not indoors in Turin. Maybe that's a place where I would probably maybe lean center, but like
I mean, the fact that that was as competitive as it was, like on those rocket surfaces, the
when
breaker
Alcaraz
and a
was
seven
hurt
five.
too, apparently.
With
Yeah,
Alcaraz being hurt.
Yeah.
Alcaraz being hurt, Alcaraz already clinched number one in the world. Like, I'll say, Brad, like we totally agree. Like, I didn't mean to say that he hasn't evolved as a player. He's gotten infinitely better as a player, but his core style, what he brings to the table, what he's trying to do, how he's constructing points, all feels very similar. He's added a lot of nuances to it, but it's not like Alcaraz who can play a defensive counterpuncher to a serve and volleyer to whatever you need him to be. Um, Djokovic had that same kind of chameleonism. Federer and Nadal both had that chameleonism. And I'm not sure I'm not sure Sinner. I'm not sure his game is just so complete there yet. I think he can get there because his shot making is honestly probably the best in the world. But
I mean,
I don't know. I'd like to see him
we'll
pushed. I'd like to
see.
see him pushed tactically.
If Sinner doesn't lose to guys not named Djokovic or Alcaraz, and Alcaraz does have these like fluke losses to Goffin and the Lechkas of the world, I mean, I might I might change my opinion.
Because let's go back, right? So in the second half of the year, post US Open, Alcaraz did have a weird loss to Nori. Sinner, I mean, I guess it depends. I guess he lost the Greek sport. Maybe he retired, so it's hard to did he was that really a loss? Was it not? Hard to say. But like Alcaraz did have a fluke loss. Sinner didn't. Uh I don't know, but we don't really care is the crazy thing because
Yeah, right, right.
it all that matters is best of five. And like when we compare these two at the end of their careers, we're going to essentially compare best of five and head to head. And I'm not sure if that's right, if that's the right way to look at it, but it's the way we probably will look at it. It certainly is the way that 95% of the tennis media will look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So let's switch gears to Djokovic. So what do we expect from him for the rest of the year? I think he's kind of squandered his best chance at 25, to be honest. I mean, he got super lucky with a withdrawal to Menchik, with a two-set retirement to Musetti, and that quote unquote fluke loss to Sinner. I mean, yeah, but no one's
He
gonna.
got every lucky break he could get.
Yeah, and he
Like
fell short.
he could have not have gotten he could literally not have gotten luckier breaks. I mean, who did he even beat to get there? He beat Van de Zandschulp, Maestrelli, Martinez. So even I guess VDZ is a legitimate ATP player, but like he outplayed one ATP player. And Martinez is not a legitimate ATP player on hard. On clay, he's a very
Oh,
legitimate
we also
ATP
saw
player.
that
But
today. That was a painful loss against Manarino.
Oh my goodness, dude. He looked so good for about 10 games and then Manarino came alive. So
it's also not the first time that that's happened to Martinez. But
no, it's not. It's classic. On Djokovic, I agree. That was his last best chance at 25. I don't know. I'm getting sick of talking about his last best chance at 25. But this one is just insane. But who knows? Maybe he'll get lucky again and get through a draw. But I think this is going to surprise you guys, but I think that loss against Musetti was pretty revealing. Um, I think that loss against Musetti was pretty revealing because either you believe Musetti, whether or not you believe Musetti has like taken a leap, and he's legitimately competing with him and gassing him out and playing long points and was able to dictate the match. I know you're probably going to say Novak wasn't sharp and that, and the other, but if Musetti is gassing Novak in the Australian Open, that does not look good. That does not bode well for Novak's chances moving forward in best of five tennis.
All right,
well,
but
I thought the Go ahead, Manny, and I'll go.
Okay. I mean, my take on that match is I actually think Musetti has actually historically matched up pretty well with Novak.
Oh God. Well,
Uh,
this is what everyone was saying that he like is Novak's son.
no, I actually think Novak struggles against the slice. I mean, when you th look back at Nadal's matches with Novak, Nadal would actually go to the slice to kind of give himself some more time
Hmm.
in those rallies and kind of force Novak to create his own pace. And he used that as a tactic to open up his forehand. And he was actually very transparent about that tactic later in his career and like in his retirement. And I think Musetti is really good at that. You know, he's really good at using the slice to kind of open up the court and find avenues to be aggressive, right? Because the slice buys you time.
Hmm.
Um, so and you know, we've seen this early in Musetti's career. Like there were very few guys in 2021 or 2020 that could take two sets off Novak at the French, right? But Musetti had the talent to do it, but I also think it's partly because of his tactics and what he's good at. Uh,
He's a very yeah. I mean, that's a good take. He's also
so
1 in 10 against Djokovic. So
I was gonna say I was gonna come back with
it's a
that.
tough
yeah,
putt, Manny.
Even if
right,
you take
but
out the
It's a tough
retirement,
putt.
okay, you got that right, but I think Musetti has gotten close a lot of times, but doesn't have
yeah.
that belief, and I think that also translates to Musetti's lower uh, bad finals record. Like I think Musetti has a mental like pro. All right, Brad.
And he's,
No,
I mean, I'm just looking at the head to head right now. So he
okay.
took the first two sets in 2021, the first time they played fair, and he took two sets in the 2024 French.
In 2021, he was
Fair.
set,
But the
Lorenzo
other
was
matches were
17.
beatdowns, but besides Athens.
Okay. Didn't they
So,
play
like,
at Monte Carlo? Oh, that was his one
well,
win.
that's the one that Musetti won.
Okay.
The rematch
So,
was
like,
competitive.
yeah,
The rematch was competitive.
what'd you say, Smooth?
The rematch in Monte Carlo was, I remember it being relatively competitive in
It was
24.
5-3. I guess, yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
that's fine.
yeah.
That's under
Okay.
22 and a half.
Um, but yeah,
Djokovic has the layers of his game to decipher the tactics and find a way through, right?
well,
In
I
the
think the
past,
problem is for Djokovic. Like, where I was going to go with this is like, I agree. I think Djokovic came out flat, so I'm going to be on the this, that, and the other camp in the Musetti match. Smooth. That
hmm
said, this isn't a new thing where Djokovic comes out flat. Like the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of flat Djokovic performances,
in a
and
slam,
I think that is like and so clearly he's getting older, right? And like, can he actually show up and win? Like, I mean, like he's not going to win a slam. Like this was it can't get better than this. Like to get a great draw where you don't have to play two ATP players in the first two rounds. You get a walkover in the fourth round. You get a fluke injury in the quarters and only have to play two sets. You get a very fluky win in the semis. What more could go right for him? And he still ran into Carlos in the end and couldn't get through. There's no chance at this point of him winning a slam. I mean, it's sad. Like part of me is just pouring cold water on a lot of these takes because I think like there's a lot of this. It's like there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about, but really the more things change, the more they stay the same. Um, so yeah, I mean, and then I think also the last thing I want to say is like I think the Novak press conference at the end when he kind of hinted at like he first of all he made the whole comment about I don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 months, 12 months, etc. That people are saying might be a hint at retirement, but he also actually called out the fact that he said something along the lines of I can't remember the exact word, but he said something along the lines of like I can't believe I'm actually up here giving a speech after the final. He didn't seem at all like mad about losing to Alcaraz. He seemed like content with it. Like there's just a lot that tells me that Novak has finally realized that there's winning a slam is not realistic anymore, unless by some miracle Carlos and Sinner were to both like get hurt in the same event.
Can't rule it out, man. Well, at this point, you can't rule it out. But
I mean,
I
what
agree.
odds would you need to hit him? I think I would need like 30-1.
It's a no bet. It's a no bet for me. Just period. I don't think he's like I would probably take Zverev ahead of him, and I'm pretty low on Zverev. So
All right,
like
let's transition
in a
to
5-set match.
let's transition to Zverev. I think that's a great segue. So
Oh,
I know Brad, you had some hot take on Zverev. So well, I think you both of you guys do. So
You can go first, Smooth, and then I'll jump in because I got to pull up some stats that I pulled.
I mean I don't understand why my take is hot. Like I don't understand why we're celebrating Zverev's loss again against Carlos Alcaraz as if it's like some massive step. Like this dude is 28, going to be 29 in a month, and like Djokovic just had an unbelievable chance to win a slam. I know that like there was some big moments for him, and I know that like he showed some resilience, and like I know coming back from 2 sets, regardless of circumstances, is a massive achievement. But unacceptable to go to back-to-back tiebreakers in the third and fourth set. In my opinion, I don't think he did nearly enough to figure out what Alcaraz was doing. I don't think he was being nearly aggressive enough going after his injury. And he messed around and found out Carlos came back to life. His cramp was healed. I just don't understand what is positive about that match from Zverev's POV. And like, do I care that he beat Diallo, Moller, Norrie, Cerundolo, and Tien? Like, dude,
No.
like, no, not really. Like, he usually beats those guys. Like today, he got to a slam semifinal again. Like, his ceiling is becoming more and more clear, I think. And it's pretty disappointing from my POV. I know he's more aggressive with his forehand too. I do want to give him credit. He was more aggressive with his forehand, but like what else can he really add to his game that's going to take him to the next level? Like how like I would love someone to tell me that this was a positive experience for Zverev. Because I think this
Also,
was one of the
I will
worst
give
losses of his
you
career.
the best argument I can give you that it was a positive experience and Smooth. It would be that if you compare it to the rest of 20 to the last 9 months of 25, where he was being beaten by guys in the 3 through 10 range, like it would be positive compared to that, right? But like he's a better tennis player than those guys. Like he's the like as a tennis player, just as like a pure. Smooth's going to disagree, and that's fine, and I'm waiting for it. But he's the third best player in the world, like as a pure tennis player, as a physical tennis player.
Okay. I mean, I
He's
think that's his ceiling. I think his ceiling is third best tennis player in the world. But I mean,
But I guess here's my question: is like why though? Like he's got a great serve, he's a great athlete, he's got a phenomenal backhand. The forehand he's never really gotten to an elite level, and that's a problem. But he's a good enough athlete. He's done a lot of work to get better on his net game. Is his net game elite? No, but it's not terrible. Like I don't think it's that much worse than Sinner's. So like, I guess like it's just. But the problem is that, and I pulled a couple of interesting stats. So if you look at again serve points 1, return points 1. If you look at the match versus Alcaraz, if you take the first 8 games of each set, right?
Mm-hmm.
Zverev was the better player. He lost 30% of serve points, so he won 70% of his service points, and Alcaraz only won 66% in the first 8 games of each set. If you take after that in each set, including the 2 tiebreaks Zverev won, Zverev won 60% of service points and 23% of return points.
That's not good.
Like it's the same. And so it's like it's my same take of like the more things change, the more things stay the same. Like it's the same problem for Zverev of like when it gets to a big moment in a slam semi or a slam final, all of a sudden he can't be aggressive on the forehand anymore. All of a sudden it's the. I mean, Manny and I were making the joke on the spaces, which I don't think we were able to make, Smooth, but like the loser tax with Zverev is 100%. Like I bet him to win the first set. And I was thrilled at the first 8 games when I was like, he's being aggressive on the forehand. Like, he's outplaying him. He's like, I don't know if he had any break. He might have had a break chance, but he was making progress. He was getting easy holds, making some progress in the Alcaraz serve. Like, things were going great. And then it gets to 4-all, and all of a sudden, like,
Yep, the loser.
the new Zverev comes out that can't play. Gets to 5-2 in the second set. All of a sudden, this new Zverev comes out that is scared. Alcaraz gets hurt, has the cramps in the third and the fourth, and you're right, Smooth. Zverev can't figure out what to do against a cramping player. Like,
Way too long
he
to
can't
figure that
process it
out.
through his mind to change tactics.
And both sets go to a tiebreak. He did play good tiebreaks, but like, why are you getting to a tiebreak? Like,
And then the
can't
fifth
move.
set, he served for the match in the fifth set.
Right.
Yeah.
And he should have won the second set.
He should have won. He should have won 4 of the 5 sets. The first set was pretty
the
even.
second set tiebreak.
And then he
What?
makes the excuse in the press conference that he couldn't like find his legs.
He was up 4-2 in the second set tiebreak and lost 7-5.
Right.
Yeah.
So he literally should have won 4 of the 5 sets. Like, this is,
I'll say
and then on top of it, I'm glad you brought up the press conference, Manny, because it's, and I don't get on guys too much for this, but I do with Zverev because it's the same
Excuse after
crap
excuse.
of no accountability.
Yeah,
He gets to the, like, his press conferences when he wins are great. They're like top-notch press conferences. When he loses, it's just like whiner excuse after whiner excuse. Like the reason you were in a fifth set, Zverev, is because you didn't have the head and the composure to win that match in 4.
If those sets aren't competitive, Carlos shakes hands. If Zverev just starts making those physicals, Carlos shakes hands, I think. Sorry to interrupt. But
I think that's true too, Smooth. Like, so it's and there was the whining during the match to the umpire about the medical timeout. Like, yeah, is it against the rules? Sure, but like, no guy in the, like, they're never going to deny a medical timeout.
dude, he looks so bad for that. He looks so bad for that.
So he's just like, it's just the same old, like, nothing change, like nothing, like this guy, nothing changes. He gets into these big matches, like, and I agree with, I think we were having a debate with Klaus Fulgar on Twitter. I don't think he's mentally weak against like 98% of the time, but it's this 2% that he needs to get over the hump and redefine his career. Yeah. And he just mentally
100%.
folds.
100%.
Another fascinating stat for Zverev is, I'm going to pull it up. But I believe he's 3-13 in Slam semis and finals now.
Yeah, that's not good.
3 wins. The 3 wins in Slam semis.
Carreno Busta.
Carreno Busta in 5.
Wait, let me get it. It was a retirement Djokovic.
Djokovic by retirement.
Yep. And it was French Open. It was Tsitsipas.
No, it was a sick Casper Ruud.
Sick Casper Ruud. Okay, yeah.
Those, and Busta, he had to come back from 2 sets down.
Right.
The more fascinating thing is, again, if you go to the and I'm just pulling up the stats just to see one more time, just check it. But so sorry, he's not 3-13, he's 3-10. But if you look at the serve points won, return points won total, it's 99. So he's winning 63% of service points and 36% of return points. What?
In slams.
That's Slam semis and finals.
Okay.
So like he's plenty, and even just anecdotally, like he's plenty competitive in these matches, in these Slam semis and finals. Like it's not a competitiveness problem. It's just he's just such a loser.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating because like the guy's worked so hard on his game, and the diabetes thing is always worth mentioning. The fact that he's inspirational, except for like the fact that like just personality wise,
yeah, honestly, if he didn't make those excuses in the press conference about like, making excuses constantly, right, and not taking accountability. I think
the right answer is I blew 5 out of 5 sets, really, and maybe you can argue the first set he didn't really blow. The first set was pretty even. I guess I'll give him that one, but like I blew 4 of 5 sets. Like I just flat out blew 4 out of 5 sets in that match, or did not execute mentally in 4 of 5 sets in a match, and like that can't happen. And That should be the press conference, and that should be it. Like it's not that like for a guy who's so good in front of the mic.
Mhm.
We were talking about how like I felt like Zverev deserved credit. When I say something like that, it's all relative, right? So like, you know, I don't expect anything from Zverev anymore in these big matches. Like I had the Alcaraz -6.5. Like that's what I was expecting. I was
No,
expecting
I know. Yeah, no, I know.
So
Um,
like when I get some like decent tennis, like when I see Zverev play a good fourth set tiebreak, for example, I'm like shocked. My jaw's to the ground, right? So it's all relative. Like so I'm kind of impressed that he found a way back in that match, but also like there's a lot that can be improved on. And when I talk about Sinner intangibles needing to improve, it's all relative to, like it's in no comparison to Zverev, right? Like the
yeah,
Sinner intangibles are way above the Zverev intangibles. So,
for sure. Well,
Smooth, I do agree with you that Zverev's ceiling is third best player in the world. I just mean like he's been competitive with Zverev and Alcaraz or Sinner and Alcaraz. Like he's good enough to be competitive and occasionally steal a match, and he's good enough at tennis to win a slam. He's good enough to break through.
I want to say a few things about Zverev real quick. I agree with you on all of those points. Um, him being competitive with Yannick and Carlos is interesting because he's been competitive with Yannick and Carlos while Yannick and Carlos were like 19 to 21 and or 22 maybe. They've really separated since then. But all those dudes have done since then has gotten better, whereas Zverev has kind of remained the same. And we touched on it, but the reason that he falters against these guys, I know we talk about that it's mental, but I really think it's structural. Zverev isn't a player that takes initiative. He's a player that owns initiative. I know that sounds kind of weird, but almost like Taylor Fritz, he doesn't have like a true point ender. He's trying not like Taylor Fritz, it's a bad example, but Zverev likes to sit from the baseline and break you down and force you to make an error. And he doesn't really have a way to control any attacking tempo or attacking structure. So against Carlos, it makes sense. That's what he did in those sets. That's why it went to tiebreaks. He just sat back and tried to make it physical and make he didn't do that well enough, but baited Carlos into an error. And he should have taken a lot more initiative there. Um, I don't know. You see, like he's just usually so good against the standard tour player that he hasn't really been. I don't know. I'm just rambling now.
Well, I've
But
got
he's
a new
just so
theory I
static.
just
He's
thought
such a
about.
static player, man. He's just not getting better. Go ahead.
I've got a new theory that I've thought about. Is the problem for Zverev that, to your point, Smooth, in the structure of his game, the big strength is the backhand out of the slot,
Mhm.
which is a very, like, by its nature, defensive shot.
yeah.
Like when guys, like, we get super excited when guys hit backhand winners because
Right.
guys don't hit a lot of backhand winners. And like,
Right.
and is the pro like you brought up a great point, Smooth. Like I think the big problem for Zverev is that like that forehand, like to be a top tier player in tennis, you have to have a big forehand. Like, is
You have
there
to have
is
a way
there
to
a
end a
player
point
who's
from the
been a
baseline.
The
top
problem
tier
is he's
level player
capable of
without a
hitting.
big forehand?
He's capable of hitting it. We've seen it. It's just like he's not capable of hitting it in a big moment.
But
Dude,
he's
I don't
not.
think
But
he
he's
is.
not capable of playing a full match and hitting that forehand at an elite level for full matches. Like he can hit good forehands, but I don't think he's. I don't. Manny, you always complain about it. And I'm finally on your side. I think like his forehand's not that bad. We get a little bit on him too much for it, but
Yeah,
it's also. I'm
exactly.
not sure it's good enough to win it at this elite level.
Well, he's not capable of hitting it at a big moment. I've seen him hit it aggressively. He's capable of doing it. He's just too wimpy to hit it
He,
when
no,
it really
he
matters.
resorts to his foundation. He resorts to his foundation in the big moments. And
Yeah.
Yannick, I would say there's a very thin comparison between Yannick and Zverev, where players who have just added various nuances to their game without really growing anymore, like any further out of their shell. Yannick's ceiling is much, much higher because of his athleticism and ball striking, but he could fall into a similar path. where it's so much better and fine against 99.9% of players.
Well,
There's no reason to improve or
I
grow.
actually think the biggest difference between Yannick and Zverev is not game related. It's the accountability difference. Like
Mm,
Sinner will take accountability for not having enough variation or not being good, and like he'll admit that in his press conference, whereas Zverev is just constant excuses. And that
100%.
that mindset is very meaningful.
No, you're right. I mean, this is a sport about getting better, and
Yeah.
Sinner has gotten better, and Zverev, if he has, it hasn't been fast enough. It hasn't been urgent enough. And he's going to be 29 in April, and
Yeah,
this is where we
I
are.
think he's gotten better. Throughout the last 5 years, the serve has gotten better, especially the second serve. You don't have the double fault issues. He's changed the way he serves. He makes a ton more first serves now. He does come in. He's better at coming in. He used to be terrible at the net. He's gotten better at that. Like I think Zverev's gotten better. The problem is that I agree with you, Smooth, though. Like the challenge for him is that he's not like he's now up against two guys who are younger than him and therefore are improving much faster. Whereas his improvement is like he's made improvements, but not at the rate the other two guys have. And you're absolutely right, Smooth. Also, like he has not separated himself from the other like Yannick and Alcaraz are on their own tier versus the rest of the world. Zverev really isn't. It's just that his game allows him to be, I would say, moderately competitive, at least compared to the rest of the tour, versus at least Alcaraz, if not Sinner. Like I looked at the head to head, like the last 2 years, Zverev's beaten Alcaraz twice. It's 4-2 Alcaraz, and the difference is the 2024 French Open fifth set final, which Zverev could have won, and this match right now at the Australian, back on Friday night, that Zverev should have won.
yeah.
So,
It's tough.
like, but
Do you give Zverev a better chance at winning a slam than Djokovic at this point? Like,
yes, yes.
Yeah,
There's a
for
physical
sure.
path there. It's just between the ears. What do you think,
yeah,
Smooth?
but how much
Yeah,
are
I
you?
agree 100%.
But how much are you baking that between the years part?
It's a no bet.
Okay.
Like,
All right.
like I would need a massive, massive line, but like there is I don't see a path for Djokovic at this point. There is a path for Zverev. Like, I mean, look, like we almost saw the path get executed. Like if he's able to just hold serve in that 5-3 game against Alcaraz,
Yeah, then
he
Djokovic
there's a
shoots
chance he beats
100
Djokovic in the
drop
final.
shots and Zverev doesn't adjust to it, right? Like, do you really have
Oh, dude,
confidence
don't
that
remind me. Oh my
do you have
God.
confidence that Zverev beats Djokovic in that final if they play?
I do, but
No,
I
but do
don't
I
feel good
think it's
about it.
like a minus 200 or minus 300 proposition? No, right? Like there's a path.
Okay. All right. See, for me, I weigh the mentals pretty heavily, and like I think Djokovic's path is still a little bit clearer than at least Djokovic believes. I'm not
Well, I'm not
convinced
sure
that
Djokovic
Zverev
believes in it
believes.
anymore. I mean, maybe he was just bullshitting during that press conference, but I'm
Could
not. I'm
be.
not convinced he
Could be.
believes.
He
Okay.
seemed pretty
I
pretty
think for
dusted. Yeah, I
Djokovic,
mean,
like he made a final, but I think if there was a final, if simultaneously he could make a final and it be a wake up call for how far away he is, this was it.
Okay.
yeah, I agree with Brad. But I can't wait until later when Musetti comes back and surpasses Zverev as the definitive number three.
All right. Well,
Um,
that's a good segue into our next segment, which is a fun exercise. Let's do. It's going to be a quarterfinal loser round robin. This is what we're going to do. So, Lerner Tien, Lorenzo Musetti, Ben Shelton, and Alex de Minaur. We're going to do a little round robin tournament and price the matches if they were to play at the Australian Open. Um, so, I mean, we all know how much Smooth loves Musetti. So let's
mhm.
start with a non-Musetti matchup. Let's go with Shelton versus Demonor in the first match. What do you guys price that at? Like, how do you view those two quarterfinal losers? Brad, let's start with you.
It's really close. I'd probably put Shelton as a slight favorite, maybe like a minus 130 plus 110. I think I think it's a I think it's a bad matchup for Demoner. Like Shelton's a player with a lot of power who can hit through him. Um, like are there issues with tactics on the backhand side? Sure, but I don't think Demoner is particularly great at getting returns back into play. Um,
Super
and the
aggressive
serve is
return.
not really a weapon for Demoner in the way that it is for Shelton. So there's a massive disadvantage there on the serve. So yeah, I'll keep it short, but I would say that because of the matchup edge, I'd say Shelton, but it's pretty close.
Smooth.
Yeah, I might take Demon in a best of five. I'm still like I liked what I saw out of Ben, but I still don't know what that shoulder injury was, and I still want to see him a little more. And I think Demon's form at the Australian Open was excellent, but I probably have this round a pick 'em to tell you the truth, or maybe like Demon minus 115, Shelton minus 105, something around that. I would be interested to see how I think it would be a match that has a potential of going long, and I'd be interested to see how Shelton fares in that situation. Still on the early side of his comeback, so that's kind of how I'm feeling. I just don't know what
Shelton's
that
done
injury
pretty
was.
well
That injury freaks me
in
out.
what do you say, Smooth?
That injury freaks me out. I know he's been back for a minute, but like I don't know what that was.
The
I didn't like it at
shoulder.
all.
I don't if we're talking medium to long term with Shelton, I don't like this shoulder stuff. I think that's a massive potential. I think there's a high probability that Shelton ends up flaming out because of shoulder issues. Like his game
Okay,
is just
thank
so
you.
based on that explosiveness and just whipping that shoulder through. And he's already doing the cupping, and it seems like he's doing more and more of the cupping. I know that's preventative, but yeah, I think that's a major issue. If that's gone, he's nothing. Like without the serve, without the kick serve, without the explosiveness, he's nothing.
I'll say Sebi Baez. I know he beat Shelton during the run of his life, best hardcourt player of all time. But I don't know. That was pretty around the time they would have played in this hypothetical. So I might take Demon. I might like Demon in that
Yeah,
one. But yeah, I
I
do worry
would.
about the shoulder. Thank you for not making me feel crazy, Brad, because I know that was in like the U.S. Open a long time ago when that happened. But
I would love this matchup to happen at like Indian Wells or Miami. I think it would be fascinating because it's just such a contrast of styles between like this power kind of aggressive big server versus
yeah.
this counter puncher who just gets everything back. And like I have a hard time gauging who it's a good matchup for, right? Because like I agree with Brad. Like, I don't think Demonor is actually the best like return and play kind of guy, but I also think once the rally starts, he has an edge. So I think it would be super fascinating to see. Um, to me, this matchup is dependent on conditions. Like, I think if it was played during the day, I would give the edge to Shelton, and I'd probably give him the minus 130 plus 110 edge. And if it was at night, I'd probably switch it around and give Demonor that edge.
Mhm.
So.
I think that's fair. I mean, I think we're all close enough on this that conditions could probably flip things.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let's switch it to Ben Shelton, the battle of the two lefties, Ben Shelton and Lerner Tien. I mean,
Mm.
Lerner really improved a ton. But is he at that level? I guess that's a question to Brad, let's start with you there.
Is he a better tennis player than Shelton right now? No. Um, but it's an interesting. I don't. I kind of wonder what this matchup would look like though, because I could see Lerner putting Ben in a lot of uncomfortable positions, and Lerner making Ben play bad and winning that way. Like he's not going to outplay Ben, but I could see him making Ben play bad. And yes, I agree. Like Lerner's game. This is not to say that like Lerner, because Lerner's done a lot. Like, and this is kind of a theme, but like some of these guys get better in the offseason. Lerner's gotten a lot better. He's added a lot to not just the serve, but he's added a lot more like attack to his game in general. Um, but his attack game, his explosiveness isn't at the level of Ben, right? Which is not saying much. Ben's an elite explosive athlete. Um, But could he make Ben look silly and keep the match close via that? I think probably. Like, I'm gonna sound really stupid and really weird again, but like I think Ben's a favorite here, but it's probably minus 130 plus 110 again. I think he's a much better player than Lerner, but I think I think there's a matchup edge for Lerner here.
Smooth.
I'm trying to pull up what they were priced at when he closed when they played in Mallorca and Werner won. I know it's a different surface and that was a ridiculous tournament for 100 reasons, but um I don't know. If I'm pricing Demon as a pick'em, I feel like it's an interesting exercise to think about where Lerner would be. It's a very similar. I know it's a similar path to victory for both of them. Um, I think I'm right there with you, Brad. I think maybe I have Shelton closer to minus 150 and Lerner around plus 130 is what I'm guessing. But I would be looking to back Lerner there because I do think there's a matchup edge for the kid. Manny, what do you think?
Oof. This is probably the toughest one of the matchups for me to price, to be honest. I actually think this is pretty condition based too. Like I think if it was during the day when that serve is kind of out of the slot and like kind of jumping up a little more, I think Shelton should be a bigger favorite. And I think if it was at night, it should be pretty. I think Shelton should still be a decent favorite, but not um nothing crazy. Like I would say probably minus 140 at night and minus 170 during the day is probably where I'd price it.
Nice.
So yeah. All right, let's get your boy in the mix here.
Hell yeah, let's go.
And let's talk Musetti and I guess let's go Musetti and Lerner. I think it's a fun matchup with, one-handed backhand versus a lefty. Um,
hmm Mm.
I guess
I
Smooth, let's,
mean,
let's start with you.
this is really hard. They've never played. I
Yep.
probably have Lorenzo closer to minus 200 here, and Lerner plus 150 plus 160. Um, I think that might even be generous to Lerner, honestly. I think almost everything Lerner does, Musetti does better. So yeah, what do you guys think? I don't know. This one's really tough for me to price. It's just like I would love to see this match. This would be an
Yeah,
awesome
I would love
tennis
to
match
see
to
it too.
watch, honestly.
I know.
I'm
Um,
really high on Lerner. Well, I think these guys have played, haven't they? Didn't they play a few months ago? And Lerner got him in the thing. I think it was a retirement, but Lerner got him in the third set. They might have even played
it
more
was
than once.
it was Beijing, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Why is my
Um. That said, like, yeah, it's only once. That said, I guess something to clarify, like, I'm setting these prices at like what the chances are I think that each person wins the match. I agree. Like in some cases, I think markets would put it differently. And I think like the biggest example, like the Ben Lerner, I think a market would definitely put the price on Ben higher and I'd be backing Lerner. But anyways, but I think the same thing is true here. Like, but it's tough for me because I'm still not fully bought into Musetti on a hard court.
oh my goodness
I just don't love where he positions
Oh, here we
himself.
go. Here we go.
Um,
why? But why, Brad? Like what more do you need to see?
the serve has gotten better. It's not elite.
Define
The
elite.
uh getting aces with like high regularity and getting points free
Okay.
points off the first serve.
Okay, that's not his forte.
I got him. But yeah, I mean, I'm also simultaneously a huge believer in what Lerner did in the offseason to improve his game and improve the serve, improve the attacking, etc. I now Smooth. I will give you this. I do think Musetti is a significant favorite here.
hmm hmm
Because I think it's a bad matchup for Lerner. I think this is a really tough match. I know Lerner won the one in Beijing, but I think it's a tough matchup for Lerner. I think Musetti's like I think like it's going to be hard for Lerner to attack Musetti, and putting Musetti into tough positions isn't as much of a problem for Musetti as almost anybody else on the tour. Save the top two. So I would make Musetti a pretty significant favorite here. probably something in the minus 150, minus 160 range. So not as far
Because
as you, Smooth, which is to be expected. I think you're the biggest Musetti fan in the world, but I would make Musetti a
facts.
sizable favorite here.
Love it. He
Uh,
goes at minus 260 in Beijing for what it's worth, and Lerner at plus 200.
But I think Lerner's gotten
Oh,
significantly better since then.
no, I agree. I agree. I think the line, I think a future line definitely moves towards Lerner like pretty aggressively
Yeah.
from the Beijing one.
so
Manny, how do you put through this match?
Musetti should be a favorite, no doubt about it. But I also don't. I think Musetti is not the greatest against lefties. I mean, he was 4-5 last year. In 2024, he was. I mean, he was 6-3, I guess, but
I would
losses.
ignore 2024. Anything like Musetti's gotten so much better since then. I almost have to ignore anything before last year with Musetti. Personally, I don't know what you think,
But
Smooth.
last year, I mean that loss to Tabilo was kind of alarming. In
I don't. I'll disagree there. Tabilo was playing the tournament of the best tournament he's played in like 3 years.
That's
okay,
a
he
bad
also
match
But
did.
I
for
also
Lore.
I'll say on the flip side of it, like that is Manny. I guess I'll argue myself again. Like that is the type of thing that makes me say, like, is Musetti really like a top 5 player on a hard court, or even a top
Right.
10? You know,
I
like
think he's top 10, but I don't think he's top. But I also think Lerner is kind of approaching there. I think he's like probably top 15 on a hard court right now. Um, but I mean, I'm always hesitant to really back one-handed backhands against lefties. I really just think it's a problematic pattern of play because that
Hmm.
forehand just kind of gets away and out of the slot. I mean, Musetti does have a very versatile one-handed backhand where he can slice it and he can, you know, hit it high, but when it doesn't have a lot of pace and it's jumping outside that slot, it's just really hard just physiologically to hit that ball effectively over 5 sets. So I mean I still put Mazzetti as a sizable favorite just because he has more variation and just more weapons and he has like just a better injection of pace and I would say better serve. So probably like minus 190 in that range is probably where I put it.
there's also always the chance that Musetti gets hurt during the match.
There
There's
is.
always a chance. Can't rule that out.
Yeah, he
Telling
does have to
me.
improve his physicality. That's
I mean,
that's
there is. I think there is. I think for Musetti, that's the next big question, actually, or one of the next big questions is like, how does he improve that? Because we saw him get. I mean, I think we have to like. And Smooth, you said he played a lot of tennis, had a lot of deep runs, but I think he actually played more matches in 2024 than he did in 2025. So like,
The
I'm
Olympics
not.
happened in 2024, I guess. But
What'd you say?
is that Olympics related and next gen
I mean, I
related?
think it was like 5 or 10
Or, oh,
more
sorry,
matches.
Olympics
So like, how
related.
many matches would Olympics have been? Probably 5 to 10. The point is, I don't think it was that different, right? Like, I don't think it all of a sudden was like he was playing double the number of matches.
yeah. Smooth. We talked yesterday on private chat about Musetti's kind of physicality and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
one of the more impressive runs I was impressed with Musetti last year was not necessarily the the semifinal run in Masters 1000s combined with the semifinal at the French was really good. But it was
Hmm.
actually the year before when he played really physical matches in Umag and then
Oh my God.
backed
Yeah.
it up with an Olympic semifinal and
I do remember that. And that was on the
a
heels of
bronze medal.
Wimbledon.
Yeah, that was actually very impressive to me. And I think kind of goes understated. So he's shown flashes of physicality, but I don't know. For me, like it's more the mental part of it which kind of gets to me. I feel like he doesn't endure the pain and the suffering and embrace it the
Oh,
way.
I disagree. I think Manny, if we're gonna take this take based on him retiring 2 sets up against Djokovic, I think the fact that he skipped Golden Swing, I think that shows that like he was injured, significantly injured to the point where like continuing did not make sense and would have created more problems for him long term.
Mhm. I don't agree.
I think it's really hard to judge players injury. Like I know it's a boring mainstream take, but it's really hard to judge players' injury tolerance and stuff. It's tough when you have Carlos like walking to shake hands and then deciding that he's going to fight it off, and like that being the difference. And there's definitely something romantic about fighting through injury. Um, but also like it's his career. You know what I'm saying? Look what's happened to Jack Draper. Look what happened to Holger Brune. Like there is enough cautionary tales to where I'm not sure it's productive to question his
There is a difference
his
between a
injury
cramp.
tolerance. Yeah.
There's a difference between a cramp, which isn't going to, I mean, I guess it could theoretically could overcompensate and cause another injury, but is not as likely to cause another injury. And a significant, like in a leg injury, a muscular injury that he thinks is a muscular tear, where you play and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And it's going to create more problems for you down the road. Like, I'm not going to judge him for, like, it's not romantic, but I'm not going to judge him for like calling it quits if like if he thought if it was bad enough that he was getting worse and worse and he didn't think he was going to be able to win, like in a slam final, maybe in a slam quarter, we're not going to judge him that much differently if he makes the semis and then retire and then has to withdraw.
That's a huge match for him to get over the hurdle in that kind of match is a massive deal for Musetti.
I don't agree. I mean, he's made slam semis before. Like, I'm not sure. I don't. Yeah, I don't agree.
I don't know, like getting over an injury, like a cramping thing, but like, yeah, beating Djokovic would have been really, I hate to say it, would have been huge for his career, his confidence and his trajectory.
I agree. All right,
And he does need to win like that.
let's price Musetti de Minaur and Musetti Shelton while we're at it. I mean, did we see both of these matches at the World Tour Finals? I know we saw Musetti de Minaur, which was like a three-set classic, right?
Yeah, but that's hard to judge because Musetti was gassed by that point.
But
Yeah.
Musetti was also like a minus plus 200 dog in that match, which I actually think is crazy.
But it was because everybody knew he was gassed because he came, or part of it was him being gassed because he came right off of. Didn't he play the Athens final like the day before or something? It was something insane
Yeah,
he did.
he played the Athens file. Yeah, literally the day before.
But that was like the second or third match of the week, so like he should have had some like time to kind of recover, right? He played out.
What they play every other day, so he would have had like 2 off days coming off a full tournament, like literally 2 off days out of like whatever 6 or 7. Like that is not easy. Like, and coming off of a full season, coming off of Musetti playing basically every tournament during the Asian swing to try to make the tour finals, it was such a big deal for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I will say, like, and this again gets back to like who are Musetti's peers, because we don't like. I guess this podcast doesn't like Zverev. Zverev plays like every week.
I like Zverev. I think Zverev is Musetti's peer.
He does play every week.
And Zverev's physicality, I think, is significantly above Alcaraz, but not above Alcaraz, above Musetti's at this point. Not necessarily fitness, but physicality in terms of not wearing down, not getting injured. Remember, Musetti hurt himself in 24 as well. He didn't miss Golden Swing, but he was terrible during Golden Swing because he had a shoulder injury. So we've seen enough injuries out of Musetti over the last few years that I do think there's a question there, and it might be to the game style too, right? Like that's where not having elite serve, I think, hurts him.
It's not just serve, but it's like it's not having a reliable attacking profile hurts him. But it's not just his serve that's improved; it's his forehand that's improved. It's his net game that's improved, which is insane because his net game was already significant. His in attack score has improved. His conversion has improved. His serve is what started it, but he's finding his plus 1. I don't know. I'm very interested to see how he continues to develop.
Musetti has made great improvements. There's no doubt about it. He's gotten a lot better. He's a much better player, but it's also the flip side of this. With all the improvements, I still don't know what the elite attacking shot is for him. Like what is the elite point ender?
Forehand. His forehand.
Yeah,
his forehand
is good.
His forehand, at least by Tennis Viz, is the fourth best forehand, third best forehand on tour.
Wow. Okay, I did
Um,
not realize that. Okay.
It's
It'd be interesting to
underrated.
see. Does tennis base tell you like spin versus pace versus depth and accuracy, etc.? Do they break that down for you?
yeah, they do. On his groundies.
Yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
curious to see the Musetti forehand where he ranks on like power with the forehand versus spin versus like depth.
Oh, that let me check if he ranks on that. I mean, we can compare him to players manually, but I'm not sure they do leaderboards beyond like forehand. Like, no, it's just the forehand quality.
Yeah,
Um,
makes
and he
sense.
has over the last 52 weeks, apologies, he has the fourth, and it's behind Sinner first with an 8.8, Djokovic second, 8.6, Carlos third, 8.5. Carlos third, 8.57. Lorenzo fourth, 8.56.
Yeah,
So,
his forehand is it's not very pacey, but it's heavy. It's very
Well,
jump.
I guess that's what I meant by like an elite finishing shot, right? Like, it's not like is it good? It's like is it an elite finishing shot?
Yeah, but with Musetti, it's more like a two or three shot combo, right? That's what generates the winners. It's not
Okay, so he's hitting so you go back to the physicality. He's hitting now two, three extra shots every point.
exactly. Well, that's like
yeah, we have
his
I have it compared to certain averages that are interesting. Sorry, go ahead, Manny, while I pull this
no,
up.
but
What were you saying?
Musetti's style is it warrants a very physical player, right? Like in order for his style to work at the highest level, you need to be extremely physically strong and gifted, right? Like he needs Alcaraz level physicality to really win slams.
Well, no, but I would also say he needs to develop like he needs to be able to like finish points also and you know I guess either that or become a freak like Alcaraz where he can play you know 5 hours over and over again and just get to that point of Alcaraz also where he doesn't have to play every week because he's he can he you know like asking him to become Alcaraz is not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we're going back to Musetti versus Demonor, like that's a matchup I'm super fascinated by. Like I think that's must see TV. Like those
Dude,
guys are
yeah.
right. Like in terms of defense, they're probably two of the best, minus Alcaraz, right? So like just their court craft and the athleticism on display would just be incredible.
Yeah, it would be a match of a bunch of questions and a bunch of answers.
Yeah.
It'd be super fun. Dude, their match, where did they play? That was absolutely sensational. They played early on clay. Was it Monte Carlo?
I think that's right, Smooth.
Ooh.
Yeah, in the semis, it was that match was extremely fun. Musetti was absolutely gassed for the final against Carlos, but that three setter was insane. Tiebreaker, I believe. Musetti came back from a set down.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, that's a good match. I mean, I think Demon is a good peer for him, honestly, but I
Said he
think
beat him
Musetti's
down in
more.
Madrid. I didn't even realize that. But that's a better court for him because that ball kind of jumps, right?
Yeah,
Um, Gets out of demon or strike zone. So I
Yeah,
think
I would say like if it was on clay, then I'd make Musetti a pretty clear favorite.
he was a
I think
dog. He
on
was a plus
hard,
one.
I'll throw the same. I keep throwing the same number. Well, yeah, I'll change it up. I'm gonna go minus 140 plus 120 for this one, just to avoid saying minus 130 plus 110 over and over again. But I put Demon as a significant favorite. I guess let's say minus 140 plus 120
on a hard court.
on a hard court.
Okay.
I'd put it as a pick 'em again, which is boring. But you know what's really interesting? Guess what do you think Musetti closed at in the semifinals match in Monte Carlo? Take a guess.
Probably a pretty sizable dog. Probably.
I'm
But
gonna guess minus. I'm gonna guess the Musetti closed at minus 120.
Minus 120. Manny, what do you think?
well, so I think that line was skewed because Demonor just came off like a 6-love win in the previous round.
He had split sets with Tsitsipas in the last round, and then beat Berrettini. Oh, no. Sorry, that was Musetti.
Didn't Demonor come off a love and love win in the
I think
previous
against Dimitrov, right?
against Dimitrov? So I think the
I don't
market
remember.
was kind of weighing that, and in terms of how lopsided he was winning matches.
He also beat Medvedev pretty badly.
Exactly, yeah, he beat Medvedev pretty badly. So I think based on
Penny
those,
correction, that was not the tournament where he beat Dimitrov. Oh no, you're right. Yeah, you come off Lily was Dimitrov. I was reading wrong. Yep, you're right. Yep, he
right?
beat
So I think
Dimitrov and
the
Medvedev.
market was weighing those matches too heavily, and the line wasn't accurate. So like the value was clearly on Musetti, but I don't think it was a purely accurate line.
What
Is
do you
what
think
I'm
it
saying.
was?
I would say Demon was probably like a -1, -220 favorite.
Minus 220?
Ah,
Did you look it up? You're right.
no, I'm not looking it up. That's my guess.
Musetti was plus 150 at close in that one,
Okay.
which is nuts.
Minus
Um
220 plus 150. This is like a really bad vig.
let me see. I only looked up Musetti's side. Let me look up the other side.
Like minus 220 plus 180 would be like
Yeah,
moderately okay.
Hmm.
I
That'd be
can
like
look it up.
DraftKings or something throwing out there like a minus
No,
220 plus
Smooth. I wasn't
150.
looking that up, but I knew that that line was skewed based on how easily Demonor was winning matches in that.
Yeah. They don't have it, but I do remember it was crazy. Killer Sports, man, get it together.
What'd you say, Smooth?
I use a platform called Killer Sports for my historic line data.
Oh, right, right. I
And
actually Odds Portal has that too, and I think they base it off of Penny.
Odds Portal has it. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
I'll
Odds
check that
Portal
out.
has all historical like I don't know if they have every historical go back to like nine. I think they go back to like 15 years with like archived results of
Yeah.
every like match and closing odds. Which I'd love to see like what tennis betting was back in like 2015. I feel like it was a completely different ball game.
100%. I bet. Just
Well, I guess let's finish it off with some February preview. But what are some like guys outside of the top 30 you're kind of looking to make a move in the rankings or some like kind of make a splash per se? Um, I guess Brad, let's start with you there.
Outside top 30?
Yeah.
In the month of February. Hmm.
I feel like Fonseca's a boring answer, but like he popped off during the Golden Swing last year, and I think he's entered in all of it.
Man, I'm so low
Um,
on Fonseca.
Baez, I'm kind of excited to see what Baez does.
Yeah.
He made some mechanical changes to his game. I don't know how helpful they're going to be during the clay season, but he's always fun and good form.
I mean,
Um,
but that is, I mean, like for Baez, like this is his month. Like Golden Swing is his
oh,
time to get
this is
points.
his jam. Oh, this is why Seti Baez is on tour. I don't know. I think it's helpful before. Sorry, I don't mean to hijack it, but before, like this is like a packed month. There's indoor hard, there's outdoor hard, there's clay. So all sorts of players could be making tons of moves. Like Humbert's live in Montpellier and live for the rest of the indoor season. Maybe Greek Sport finds his game in Rotterdam. Baez and Fonseca abroad. Dallas. I don't know, man. I'm getting away. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Zizou Bergs played really well at United Cup.
Mm, that's a good.
And
That's a good
that's a
shout.
guy who would be kind of like a post type sleeper. Like he's been somebody who we've been kind of I think waiting for a while now. He's 26, but that's a guy who could make a move. Um, Obviously you have the injured guys like Fees and Dimitrov are two that come to mind. It'll be interesting to see like what Fees and Dimitrov look like coming back from injury. Um, and then another guy for me would be this is a guy who going to the clay, Carbe, right? Like this is his time of year, and not only is it his time of year, but I think going to those South American clay courts with like a lot of South American players, I just think his style plays better against those players than against the elite players. Like he'll get to play a lot of the long loopy rallies that he likes to play and is really good at. Um,
So a guy I'm looking at is Fabian Marjan.
Ooh, that's
I
a good
actually
one.
think he's kind of made a leap, underratedly so. I think he showed me something with good wins in was it Adelaide or Brisbane? And then making the third round and taking two sets off Medvedev, who I don't necessarily think was that bad in that tournament. I think it was more good learner, honestly, in that match that took Medvedev out. That might be a slight controversial take, but I'm still like pretty high on Medvedev going like into the later parts of the season. Um, but I don't know if Marjan can improve his mental toughness and find ways like when things really go south, can he really reel it back and kind of find a way back into a match? I think that's his biggest weakness. Like once things fall south with him, it just really falls south. And if he can figure out how to mask that in some way, I think he could have actually a good February. Um, but of all the guys, like I think he has top 20 upside, Marjan, more so than a lot of the other guys, kind of lower ranked. Um, but that's just me. I don't know what he's slated to play. Does anyone have a schedule?
I'm sure. I would be like 80% sure he's going to play the European and Middle Eastern. See, I
Probably
feel like that's
The Rotterdam, Doha, Dubai.
Rotterdam. Yeah, because I feel like guys split, right? They either do the Rotterdam, Doha, Dubai.
Yeah,
They do Dallas. They do Dallas, Del Rey, Acapulco, or Dallas, Del Rey,
right.
or they do Golden Swing.
Yeah.
Is
So
Acapulco and Shanghai the same week? I think
Ac-
you're right. I think it is.
Acapulco, Santiago, and
That's what I meant. Acapulco, yeah, yeah, Santiago, not Shanghai. Shanghai has about 6 months off.
yeah, yeah. Um, Smooth. Why don't you go? What's the guy you're looking at?
Oh man. I'm paying attention to the clay, honestly. So I can't wait to get back to clay. I prefer handicapping clay court tennis. Um,
That's why you like Musetti, right?
I mean, I'll tell you right now, we were on Musetti at plus 150 against Demon, and he's been a big cash cow for us all year. And I'm like, can't imagine that my fandom for him is not correlated to that in some strong way. I don't know, man. I'm just starting to pay attention to the challengers. I kind of am a little bit optimistic about what the younger Sarundalo could do. I know he's like shown flashes before and tailed off, but he's had
That's Brad's favorite guy. One
You
Wanma.
beat me to that one, Smooth. I was going to bring that one up. I mean, we talked about this a couple months ago, or not a couple months. We've talked about this on one of our pods already this year. How the Wanman forehand has gotten a lot better, and he actually is attacking now. Where when he first came up, he was a pure defender.
100%. 100%. And then I don't know if you guys know Adolfo Daniel Vallejo, but I think he just won a challenger.
he did.
He's 21-year-old dude. I think is he from Paraguay? I think he's from Paraguay. I have to look this up. He's from Paraguay, but he's looked pretty good. He just cracked the top 100 with that challenger win.
To be able
Um,
in the third set in Concepcion.
and Concepcion, that's right.
Yep.
We'll see. He's a classic grinder. But it'll be interesting. He's just someone. Clay tennis is a lot about form and heat, and starting to pay attention to that now is solid. And this dude is hot, so we'll see how the Golden Swing shakes out. But I'm
Golden
very
Swing is
excited.
fantastic.
It's so fun, dude. The matches are at a reasonable time.
So much
Great.
fun. It's so much fun.
It's also like it is also cool because like the Golden Swing, like you don't have very many of the elite players, so you get to see a lot more of these like really fascinating clay court grinding matches, and you get to see like kind of true clay grinder tennis.
Hmm.
Because you don't have the guys who are just like like the top 10 in the world are just like smacking and attacking and like really tough for like the guys below them to beat. I just find like Manny, you and I talk about is like the first two rounds of slams are really fascinating because you see these guys who have like pretty big
Yeah.
weaknesses have to like figure out how to like manage through that, and that's kind of what Golden Swing is about.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
No,
what clay court tennis is about, right?
yeah,
So
definitely.
I would agree.
Before we wrap it up, just a couple of thoughts on Montpellier. Any bets for tomorrow?
Oh man, let me see what I have tomorrow. I know the matches have been like scheduled kind of weird. I actually don't have anything for tomorrow. The only thing I'm looking at, and I'm looking at it really hard,
Hmm.
is I really am thinking of backing Valentin Royer against Arthur
Ooh, that
Fils.
might be popcorn tennis. I think Brad and I are thinking about backing Arthur Fils.
So I love Arthur Fils, and he plays some of the most exciting, electric, ferocious tennis on tour. But man, he hasn't played in a long time. And that injury is a serious injury to his back, and it's one that he's dealt with his whole career, going back to when he was a junior. He gave an interview recently where he talked about how um, like he's going to have to make structural changes to his game because of this back injury. He's going to have to change some of the way he plays tennis. I don't know what that means exactly. I would imagine it will impact his serve at the very least. Um, and I want no part of playing juice on him during this transitional phase and return phase. And Roy, we know what we're getting with him. He's kind of a ball basher sometimes, but he's playing regular tennis and has looked pretty okay. He looked pretty okay during the indoor swing. I,
But wait, but to play devil's advocate, don't
yeah.
you if you play the spread with fees, you get that retirement insurance. And B, like if Feast is playing, don't you think like he's somewhat healthy in a way and like his
Remember, he did already push back several times, right? He pushed back that he was going to return, I think, for Australia's. He was definitely going to return for the Australian Open. I thought he even had dreams of returning, like to start the season. He keeps pushing it back, so that would be
I mean,
another.
I don't think there's going to be reasons to think he's unhealthy. I think he comes back healthy, but I think he's coming back healthy with a new mandate on changing how he plays tennis.
That's a great
So
call out, Smith. I think the second part, and you might have talked me off if I can cash out because,
Hmm.
like, that's a great point on the. Like, I had seen the interview on the structural changes. I didn't really think about it because, like, normally I come with the opposite of thing of like guy out for a long time, first match back. A lot of times, like, they're fresh, and it's really the second and third match back where the physicality becomes a problem again. But you're right, Smooth. If he's made fundamental changes, like this may be a transition period. It'll be really interesting to see with fees, like how, like, what are these structural changes?
I think what I've seen people speculate on is, and what I've talked about with other people is his serve. He has a really aggressive service motion, and he's really heavy. Like it's a lot of muscle, but he's really heavy for his frame.
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna lose. I think if you saw a thin Arthur Fee instead of like a crazy ripped Arthur Fee, I wouldn't be shocked. And I don't know how it's gonna change his game. But on the other hand, like it's awesome that he's being mature about this and taking like a like a mature long-term serious approach. Pushing it back I thought was a great sign that he's taking it seriously. um and it sucks. I mean, this has really been something that's affected since he was a junior. So um
Yeah.
recognizing that he has to change some of his habits to protect his long-term career interest, I think is
You
solid. But damn, Roy, I just I'm gonna feel really dumb if I bet Roy and he loses, like really, like unbelievably stupid. So that's where I'm at. But having no action tomorrow feels wrong.
oh, man,
The match that I like is if we're talking about matches, I like Humbert. Um,
Hmm.
I like Humbert against VDZ, even laying the juice. Like Montpellier is playing a little bit quicker. Um, and I do think that with it playing a little bit quicker, uh, like this is a spot for if it's playing relatively quick, it's a spot for Humbert. It's a French indoor hard court, like, and I actually ended up I feel stupid because I didn't take the I wanted to look into it more, so I didn't take the 1200 when we talked about it on our private chat yesterday. And I ended up taking 800 later that night because the market moved, and I felt really stupid for not hitting a bear earlier.
Hmm.
Um, but Yeah, so that's my one play for tomorrow, and then maybe fees. Smooth, you brought up a good point. I'm now a little more scared on the fees thing. If I do play the fees, I'll lay the games. Also, because I agree with you, Smooth. I want no part of like a. I would way rather lay games because I feel like with this return with fees, like he could be really good, he could be really bad, like relative to his
Exactly.
normal level. He could be fine, he could be really bad. But I think the variance is higher in a match like this than normal. So if I'm gonna play fees, I'd rather lay games than lay juice.
I agree. I almost think like an alt spread there, like to what you might think it would be if he was like 90% is probably
Yeah, like you could
a good
lay
value
like I
one.
mean you could lay 2.5. That's one break a serve,
Yeah.
and you could
At
probably
plus
get
plus
like a
odds.
plus 130 on it or something. Like those half, maybe not plus, maybe like a plus 120. Like those half games, you usually get 10 to 15 cents per half game.
Yeah.
I'm
Something like
off
that.
on
I mean,
Bear. I'm off on Bear VDZ. I just think I agree with you, Brad, but I also think VDZ has a decent peak level. His floor is awful and like low challenger level floor, but his peak is pretty high. And if Umber comes out a little flat, I don't really want to lay juice there. Um, so I'm probably going to be off that. I kind of like Blanchette over Vavasori at plus money.
wait, is that out?
Yeah, that's out. I saw Blanchette at like plus 128 in that.
Yeah, yeah. Vavasor is a small favorite, but Vavasor's been playing pretty good lately, man.
It's great.
Yeah, but he's very serve plus one oriented, and if Blanchette can force more rallies, I think he has a good chance there. I don't know.
Manchette lost a heartbreaker to Tiswan Druget. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, but Druget is a kind of aggressive minded player. I don't necessarily think he's that much better or worse than Vavasori.
no, I
Like,
like it. And I think isn't it am I crazy or does Blanchette have
yeah,
a pretty decent record indoors? I might be crazy.
really the French guys do for the most part.
A
I'm
lot of
also
the
going to
French
be on
guys do it.
Ketchumanovic
Yeah.
and Carreno Busta 3 sets. I like that play a lot. That's a plus 130. So that'll be a play for me. So
Montpellier scares me, man. There's a bit of an unders trend in general, Montpellier. Last 2 years, 22 overs, 27 unders. Last 4 years, obviously some of this is the slower play, but last 4 years, 42 overs, 56 unders. I wonder with Montpellier if there is, and the weird part of it is like the first set over unders aren't like the first set overs come in like at a better at a fine rate. I feel like there's something weird with like where Montpellier is in the calendar. Like weird stuff happens in Montpellier. Like
yeah,
there's
last
a
year we
fair
got
number of
Cobra in
like
the final, right?
right like there's a fair number of like big dog winners. I don't know if there's something with this particular week where there's like a little bit of a motivation thing where there's just a few guys who like aren't necessarily motivated and like a guy like Bodic, like it's part of what would scare me about backing Bodic against Umber. And I'm not saying you are Manny, but like there's a few guys in this field where I'm like, if something if it starts to go wrong, are they going to be looking ahead to future weeks? Because
Could
there's like
be.
like if you look at the calendar, like if you're a European player, right? Like you've got um
Rotterdam.
Rotterdam's a 500 next week.
Yeah.
And then I think Doha and Dubai are two of the highest paying 250s. Am I not right about
So they're
that?
both 500s.
They're
Oh,
500s and
Doha got upgraded?
they are the highest paying 500s, I think.
Yeah. So, and if you're and like if you're, I'm not talking about top 10 guys, but if you're somebody out the side of top 10 who like prize money's a big deal for you, those are
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
like this is not the biggest week on the calendar. So
That's
I do
why it's
wonder
kind
if
of good
the
backing French guys, I feel, because French guys will be motivated and guys like Kovacevic, right, where like winning any tournament is a big deal, right? So I
well,
like
Did
Kova's
he get a draw
defending,
yet?
right? I think this is one like the defending points narrative isn't usually one that I like. But I think like this is probably the 1 week a year where like it kind of matters because like you don't want to like I mean like you don't want to have your ranking drop, right? Like that's not good for draws and things like that. So like if you're defending, you're probably going to be a little more motivated. And I do think I'm not a big motivation guy in general. I used to be. I mean, man, you and I used to just pod about motivation. Like the first couple of years we did it, we talked a lot about it. And I think one of the better things we did was really dropping out that narrative. So I don't think it like it
Yeah,
plays pretty rarely. But I do
it
think this
does.
is one week where there's maybe 3 or 4 guys out there who that could be an issue.
I agree. I agree.
I mean, I agree with you. It's a little bit motivation and points defending is a little overstated. This is an issue with Kova though, where I think it's a pretty like if this dude's not locked in for this tournament, like his whole year changes pretty dramatically. So,
True.
like I don't know how like I don't have it in front of me, but I think he's defending a ton of points, and he also has had a ton of time to focus on preparing for this tournament. So,
Yeah.
um,
I have his outright. So I have 3 outright plays here. I have
oh
the
hell
Umbero
yeah,
I mentioned. I have Kova at 25-1, and I have
Straight up.
FA at 5-1, the 2 finals from last year.
those are great outrights. That Uber line, I know you guys are both on it. I'm on it too privately. That line opened so weird to me. Suggests that there's some sort of externality that we don't know about, but I can't explain that at all. Um,
I'm off of it as of now, but I mean, I missed it, I think. So I might probably, I think I'm going to stay off of it, to be honest.
The only thing is, and I don't know, Smooth, if you agree with me on this or not, or Manny, but I do feel like, especially opening outrights, there's a lot of weirdness in them. Like, there's a lot, like, there's just generally, like, maybe it's like they don't have good algorithms for like nuances like indoors, or maybe they don't try because I don't know what the limits are. I don't know like how many serious bettors are putting money on outrights also because like you have to hold your capital for a week. So I don't know how many guys don't want to hold their capital, on an outright for a week, yada yada. Who are like really serious bettors. But I feel like you just see some goofiness happen with outrights that you don't see in individual match markets.
Yeah.
yeah,
Totally.
especially the 250 of all freaking thing.
You're right. You're right. I think the slam outrights are probably getting hit more than 250s, especially Montpellier when everybody's like done with tennis for a week because Australia just ended and whatever.
And the
Well,
schedule's
I
about to
think,
get insane,
yeah,
like
this,
like
well,
insane.
I also can't wait for Davis Cup this weekend. I love those home and away
Oh,
ties. Like, it's fantastic, but
That's the best part of the weekend. Home away ties for Davis Cup are incredible.
incredible, incredible. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up for tonight. This was a fantastic pod, a lot of fun, a lot of good tennis recap, tons of fun stuff to look forward to. So yeah,
Davis Cup preview pod.
well, we did a little preview at the in the back end of it, but any parting shots before we go?
yeah, I have one thing I want to say. I just want to thank everybody who participated in the Sharp Circle Bet 105 Gauntlet Down Under. Um, I know there's some work to do around the edges with the Sharp Circle product, and I know that everyone has so many great ideas for iterating on the tournament, but I hope everyone had fun. And I hope we can do it again. But that was a something that this community built like kind of all by itself, and I'm really appreciative of everyone who helped.
It was awesome. I don't think the three of us won anything, right? But
I
I'm
didn't
gonna
come
win the
close.
Heartbreaker Award if it's the last thing I do.
Oh,
Which
yeah, I will vote for you for the Heartbreaker Award, Smooth. Not because I like you, but because you're absolutely right, dead on. Like that was one
that
of
was
the
bad.
worst like losses, like most brutal losses. And then the way you set it up and like prepared for it perfectly to have it go that way is brutal.
dude, I was gonna be electric. I'm sure I would have lost it all betting on Musetti in the next round, but it would have it might have been for the best. But yeah, yeah.
Well, that's what I didn't really realize about that challenge was like I didn't really like I had a terrible like my strategy was just horrendous. Like not necessarily my bets. Well, actually, my strategy was terrible, and it also like the way it was designed really showed nothing about betting. Like I was up like I think I finished up like 20 units for the Australian Open. Like I'm now positive on Sharp Circle for the 6 months. I finally dug out of my 40 unit hold that I built in the first month.
Incredible
So
stuff.
that's exciting. I'm finally above break even for at least for another couple days.
Not me.
Um, but
I'm in the hole now. I gotta get out of it.
yeah, but
That's part of it.
But my point is, like, I finished the betting challenge down like 20 units, like the sharpshooter betting challenge down like 20 units. But like my actual plays that I was posting were like plus 20 units. Like it was very weird how like strategically you had to play that like in a way that isn't really related to how I bet the sport
Well,
itself.
I placed 5 units on Shelton money line in the quarterfinals. Like that was my shot, right? Like I was kind of way in the dumpster, right? So like I needed that win to kind of get back in. So
Yeah. No, it's
I did.
definitely not. It's definitely not like serious betting or handicapping. It's more like the fantasy football betting, I guess, is kind of what it's like.
But
But
it was just so much fun. I mean, it was awesome that Reese put that together. Reese and all of you put that together, and like it was just awesome. I mean,
yeah,
And the
I'm
turnout
glad.
was incredible. I mean, like
yeah.
smooth. Like, how did Reese feel? How like how was the turnout, Judd? Was that seen as like a positive turnout?
Oh, dude, unbelievable, unbelievable turnout. I don't have the final numbers in front of me, but last I heard there were something around 700 entries for the betting tournament and a little over 300 for the bracket challenge, which is Um, 300 for a bracket challenge when the bracket gets released, like with 12 hours before they lock, is crazy stuff. I think we had. I wish I had all the stats in front of me, but um, good portion of the people played every single day. We're getting great submissions for the Heartbreaker Award and the Bet 105 Bet of the Tournament Award.
How are they?
Um,
How is that voting happening? Well, I guess that'd be a thing I would say is like that we need to
Yeah,
create like
no,
the.
if you have a play, submit it on Twitter, tag Sharp Circle. You can go to my page and see my submission for the Heartbreaker Award. But if you have a play that you thought was extremely sharp or a beat that was extremely terrible, like tell your story, and let us know. Sharp Circle is gonna pick a few finalists and then put it out to a community vote. So that'll be how it goes down. But we're trying to capture the narrative best we can. So love to hear your stories. Love the ones that I'm hearing from my followers. They are someone just sent me in a someone had 5 units on Zverev and just brutal. Would have been a big difference for him against Alcaraz. So
That's tough.
um
Rough.
that's tough, dude. It's real tough. But yeah, I'm looking forward. I mean, it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better, and
Well, it's awesome because the first one they did run a challenge for the U.S. Open. It was not super successful. So I think we just did a much. I think the Sharp Circle guys did a much better job too of really getting on us, like on the tipsters to really push stuff, which is important. We need to do that.
oh, dude, the tipsters were so huge in pushing it. The people who comprise the Sharpster community, the cappers on there, like every single one of them, top class stuff. I mean, it takes a lot of like balls to put your record out there like that, and it doesn't happen without you guys. So,
Well, it's a great. I mean, it's a fantastic product.
It
yeah,
is. It is a
Like
great
I
the
product.
product
appreciate it.
idea is amazing. I can see arguments why people wouldn't want to be on there. But I think it's
But
and
it,
not just like being afraid, but like not wanting to show your picks. Um, but
but it
I
weeds the crap out, a lot of it. It really, like with posting your bet slips and all that, like it really stresses transparency in the greatest way.
It
yeah,
brings
like I said,
a
I'm go ahead, Steve.
oh yeah, it brings a uniform language to capper accountability and capper transparency. There's a system that very clearly tracks your performance, and like what Manny said, it just puts the bullshit aside. So um
Yeah.
we'll see having people buy into that. I think accepting the reality that people have winning streaks and losing streaks, and like what like redefining what success actually looks like is a big part of the mission. So
Yeah.
um yeah, unfortunately this industry has promised things that are insane, so it's up to us to fix it. Yeah.
It's also a shame because like um I don't know, so much of this industry is like built on like greater fool theory, right? And there's an element of like how many people like is your mainstream better like just a fool and like doesn't even really realize the variance that's involved, or there's like it's really unfortunate because I think it's a like it's something that we talk about a lot, and I was talking about it with somebody else, but um like there's a healthy way to gamble, and there's a logical way and an understandable way to gamble, and there's a very unhealthy way to gamble, and there's a very just like stupid way to gamble, and they're kind of different things, the unhealthy and the stupid. But like unfortunately, like the industry is built on the kind of the unhealthy and stupid gamblers.
Yeah.
And I think of the question is, how do you educate gamblers to understand things like variance and understand like how you evaluate somebody's record, and how you like understand how you critically read into like read into what a tipster says, and there's just a lot to it.
Yeah, 100%. No, and it's tough to bring these concepts to a lay audience who has only known fantasies. So it's a tough battle, but we're trying to make it fun and are so appreciative that you guys agree. So
Yeah, we
um
hope to bring
stoked.
more people to the space, but we're also here to just talk tennis and
Yeah,
combine it with the gambling narrative, and like adding the gambling piece adds context to what we're talking about, and I think that that's a fun way to talk about the sport. So we appreciate everyone. All the support has been
Sorry for
incredible.
the top player talk today, guys, too. Like usually Manny and I try to focus on like talking not about top players. Today was way too much Alcaraz, Sinner, Zverev
Yeah,
talk that
it,
everybody
it
has to
was the
talk
night to
about.
do that, but I promise you for our next pod we'll probably open with Thomas Martin Etcheverry or something like that. So but
we'll get back to it.
all right, well, this was a lot of fun, and thanks again, Smooth, for joining us and making this our third Ace the Odds pod. Hopefully, this continues to be a regular thing. So we appreciate it. And
Yes, sir. Thank you
all right,
guys.
have a great
Bye,
night,
guys.
everyone. Take care. See ya.